Hi there, and welcome to Steve Couper's podcast for real estate investors. In each episode, we connect with seasoned investors and industry subject matter experts who are eager to share their experiences and tips for success when investing in real estate. And today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Luis Rivas. Luis is an award-winning real estate investor at Rivas Real Estate Investments and the real estate investment head coach at WealthGenius. He's currently living in Ottawa, Ontario. Welcome, Luis. And before we dive into any questions, maybe you can confirm, did I get everything correct?
Yes, you did, Steve. Thank you so much. Good morning.
Good morning. And well, maybe you can tell us a little bit about yourself before we go through the questions then.
Well, you nailed it at a 10,000 foot level. I'm a real estate investor and head coach at WealthGenius, and I live in Ottawa with my family. And I'm an immigrant to Canada. I came here in '85, so in August it's going to be 39 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. And I was hatched in a country called Nicaragua in Central America. And it's a long 39-year history, but in a sense, in an essence, my career was in the federal government as a project manager and IT type of jobs, and then I left that in 2022, and I've been concentrating on real estate investments full time ever since, and it's been extremely rewarding for me.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay, well, that is awesome. We can talk about some of that more in the future. Um, so tell us about your journey into real estate, investing and coaching. What motivated you to specialize in this field?
I would say that it was very serendipitous. I didn't plan out to be a real estate coach, but of course, being connected to Alfonso Cuadra, as you know, he's very, very magnetizing and very he's like a catalyst, he's a galvanizer, and he brought it out of me essentially. I have a gift of being able to speak very well with people and connecting with people as well. So it was a natural thing, accidental thing. I joined the mentorship with Alfonso back in man, when I joined with Alfonso, it was for me to learn about the real estate game, the proper rules of engagement, and I dominated that, and he realized that I did like people, that did like helping people, and I did love real estate. So it was like a natural fit. He said, "Hey, I need help. I can't keep up." And this was back when, he was the only coach and there was no Wealth Genius. It was just a little backroom thing. And, you know, when I joined as a coach and a few others were chosen as coaches, that's when the real expansion began. And I'm really fortunate to be a part of that. I feel really blessed to be part of that historical moment.
Right. Brilliant. Um, so coaching is a fascinating field for me. I think it's something that we all sort of aspire to in leadership. So, what core competencies and skills do you believe are essential for someone to become an effective coach of real estate investors?
That's a great question. My answer will be a little bit skewed because I have some formal training through ICF, International Coaching Federation. I took performance coaching at Canada Coaching Academy in Montreal, and the core competencies I would say, our coach would always say, your curiosity is your superpower. So the more curious you are, will incite more questions. And so the questions that you ask are extremely, extremely key in terms of the development of the person, because you'd really truly want them to be in the driver's seat. And you, as the coach, you're going to be in the passenger seat, guiding them where to go. And so the way that the coaching academy instilled in us was the best way to do that is by asking a lot of questions. instead of guiding them, you would ask questions like, do you think it's a good idea to drive over that pothole? I'm simplifying it.
Yeah,
Do you
yeah.
think it's a good idea to turn there, or should we go straight? And this allows the student, to discover on their own. So I would say core competencies would be curiosity and asking proper questions, using clean language. What that means is you don't want to lead them, you don't want to paraphrase for them. You want them to shape their destiny, their reality, and you'll overstep only when you see them kind of teetering over the edge, kind of like that eaglet that's about to jump out of the nest and maybe it's not quite ready. But the mom always kicks out the eaglet when it's like it's time, and it
There's no
knows
time.
it's time. So I would say active listening, and active listening is something that I've learned to adapt, because in the past I would active listen. I thought I was active listening, but I was really just trying to like jump into the conversation and try and provide a rebuttal that was witty or smart enough. And now I really do try my very best to active listen and just shut up, if I can be blunt, and just let them do the talking. And core competencies, active listening, curiosity, asking questions, and having experience in the if you're a subject matter expert in the field that you're in this case, real estate investments, in particular, multifamily, it helps a great deal in
Mhm.
terms of competencies.
Yeah. That's brilliant. I actually that's very insightful. Thank you. Um, Customer satisfaction. What do you think real estate investors should be looking for or expecting from their coach?
That's another great question. I can firmly say that the way we have things set up here at WealthGenius is that we have an onboarding call, and during the onboarding call, we discuss goals. We do goal setting, and with specific time frames, and the student can expect that their coach will hold them accountable to those goals, to those dreams.
Mhm.
We hammer on why. Why are you doing this? What's the reason? Yeah, but why? Yeah, but why? And so we're trying to dig deep into what really is that motivating factor, so that we can use that as the carrot to propel the student forward. Now, accountability is key here. People come for the education and they say, "Yeah, I need to learn the." It's because it's like a language. You're learning a brand new language, which is multifamily, which is flips or burrs or whatever you choose. And if you're learning a new language, your coach must keep you accountable to those goals and dreams, to what you said you were going to do. And if you don't do it at the end of the day or at the end of the mentorship, it should be on you, because you didn't hold yourself accountable to yourself. So the coach holds you accountable, but gradually, as the mentorship is coming to an end, the coach is coaching you on how to hold yourself accountable to yourself. Because why? Because at the end of the year, when the mentorship is done, that coach is not going to be there. I mean, the coach will be there and you can have conversations with that coach, but it won't be a systematic, every couple of weeks meeting where the coach is holding you accountable to what you said you were going to do. So there's a sort of like a training wheel. And so you can expect that the coach will help you learn a new language, which is a real estate related language, and accountability, encouragement, support, guidance. It's almost like a GPS as well. The coach, that's what we say. What are your goals? Where are you today? The first thing you put into the GPS, actually, the GPS puts it in for you. You are here. Where are you going? So the coach's job is to help you determine where you want to go and keep you accountable to that. Because if you see a shiny object and you want to veer off course, this is going to hold you back, and this is going to cause some potential painfully like damaging time delays. So I would say guidance, accountability, support, expertise. These are the things that the coach will bring to the table.
I've been so guilty of steering off course. I know
It's
exactly what
normal.
you mean. There are so many different facets of real estate investing available. It's almost like curiosity that should put the blinders on and say, no, this is where I'm going.
Put the blinders on and always keep in mind why are you man doing this? And a lot of people have a difficult time with that word and with that concept. So I try and trick them and I say, what does it
Yeah,
look like? What does it feel like at the end of the rainbow? So I would ask that question to you. If I was your coach, I would say, where are you going? Why? And what does it feel and look like in 5 years' time? So then whatever it is you choose to do must fit into that. Otherwise, it's not going to happen.
yeah. No, that's perfect. Perfect. Um, that's a nice segue into the next. It's a nice segue into the next question I got, which is about mindset. So mindset plays a key role in the success of real estate investors. How do you equip coaches with the tools and strategies needed to foster growth mindset in the real estate investor students?
Well, particularly with our equation here at our organization, we have monthly masterminds where we have a back room, locker room type chat with the guys and the gals, and we unpack the difficult questions that they're receiving from their students. We unpack their mindset issues. We unpack the direction that the company is going in and all of the multitude of tools out there to help us. We're stepping into a new era. Well, actually, we are very much immersed into it, and that is AI. Artificial intelligence is not going away. So either, in my opinion, either you embrace it and thrive with it, or you shy away from it and you're left behind. So we have those monthly calls. We have one-on-one calls ad hoc where so in my position, not only am I coaching, but I'm also mentoring the other coaches in our organization. And so we have one-on-one calls whenever they need, or if I feel like I need to reach out because I haven't spoken to them in a while. There's a lot of support here in terms of their mindset. And so we discuss the difficult questions that their students have been going through. We discuss the difficult questions that they are going through, the difficult issues that they're having to go through on a day-to-day basis. We have a lot of support here in terms of having outlets to speak about that. And this is why being part of a community is so key, especially during tumultuous times. I wouldn't say maybe tumultuous in the last couple of years. I would call them turbulent. We've been turbulent since March of 2022. Before that, it was also turbulent, but it was euphoric in the sense that rates were low, prices were going up, everything was tickety-boo. In the last couple of years, when things have been turbulent, that's when you really, truly measure the strength of an organization or an individual because they're able to go through those tough times and get through them. So mindset is key, and mindset is a daily thing. It's just like an exercise. It's just like walking, breathing, eating. The mindset should also be part of your mindfulness. You mentioned to me earlier, I've already been up and walking around the block and, engaged and activated. If you start your day off right, you know, with being interviewed by you right now, I feel like my mindset I'm already like supercharged to think about what those things that we've been talking about. So starting your day off right, exercise, even just I think walking is one of the greatest exercises known to man, and and just being mindful of your mindset. I know that sounds cliche, but just keeping that top of mind that I will do everything in my power to stay mindfully on the right mindset every day. It's not easy, and sometimes we do have to fake it. But luckily, like I said, when you're part of a large community like we are, the community, the hive mentality of positivity and mindfulness really goes a long way. It's that
I've
hidden,
felt that. I've felt
you
that for
felt
sure.
it, eh?
Yeah,
It's that hidden gem, that je ne sais quoi. People come here for the education, but they stay for that camaraderie and that community feeling.
it's definitely palpable. Thank you for that. Hey, we're coming up on 1,200 members,
Yeah.
right? And that's a lot of coaching. So,
Yes. Yeah.
so what are the key performance indicators that you use to measure success and effectiveness with your coaching team? Like,
Yeah, that's a great question.
yeah,
Yeah.
are
So
we doing what
interrupt.
we need to be doing, and how do you make sure?
Well, at every expand, our COO Ed Hervius, he comes up and does a really deep dive, a forensic deep dive of the performance metrics. If we really want to talk about key KPIs here, the metrics that we love to talk about is where are we doing our deals and how much real estate are we truly moving as a community? How many transactions? He breaks it down to the second. I don't know if you were there, but
Mhm.
he says how much have we done so far? What are we on track for? And we have metrics as a community as well as an organization as well of what it is that we'd like to hit. And so last year we accomplished over $830 million of real estate moved,
Huge.
huge by our members. So by definition, if our membership is growing and a certain percentage of our population is transacting, then by default the number of real estate that we move is going to grow. So the key performance indicator, in my opinion, is the key performance indicator here is the amount of real estate that we're moving, the amount of transactions that we're doing as a community. And so if that number continues to grow, that shows me that we're on the right track because we're continuously growing and expanding in terms of how many properties we're acquiring, how many properties we're selling, how much money are we moving as a community.
You have a feedback loop from the employees talking, giving feedback on the coaches. Is there a survey or something that they do to say, hey, this is working really well for me. I'd like to see this improve. Does any of that exist?
Oh, absolutely. We have a built-in survey halfway through the mentorship. So when you get to around the halfway point of your coaching, in order for you to move forward in your access of your modules, you must complete that survey and provide feedback to the organization on how things are going, what's missing, what are you liking, what are you not liking, and of course it doesn't have to. You don't have to wait until the 12th module to complete this feedback. You also have access to our chief experience officer here at in our organization, and we provide you an outlet to discuss compatibility issues or any minor one-off issues that comes up well before that 12th you know module. So yeah, we definitely do have a lot of checks and balances in place. It's really important.
No, it is. I think the rather than assume everything's going well, it's important to check in and confirm, right?
Yeah, it's that duck analogy, right? Just because the duck's gliding across the water doesn't mean that it's pedaling frantically underwater and it's under duress, right? Let's really get a pulse on the community with their words.
Mhm. I love it. I love it. Um, 1,200 members, but it was, I think, 1,000 when I joined, so it's growing fast. What advice do you have for beginners? How can investors assess their own readiness to become a coach, and what self-reflection exercises do you recommend? Well, there's a lot I put in there. It's like three questions
That's
in
like
one.
3 or 4 questions. Yeah, they're good questions. I'll do my best. So the very first question was 1,200 members, and how do we refresh my memory? How do we?
So let's go through it again. How can investors assess their own readiness to become a coach?
I always like to ask to become a coach. It's not really something that everybody has as a competency. It's only a small percentage of the, I'll say the population. Just because you are really good at real estate and you've been really successful at it does not mean you're going to be a good coach. It does not mean that you have that competency, that active listening, the curiosity, the patience, the ability to hold others accountable. Holding yourself accountable is one thing, but holding others accountable to themselves and their goals and dreams is tough.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Like, hey, you're coloring outside the lines. You said you were going to do this because you wanted to do that. And, holding people accountable is an uncomfortable thing for a lot of people. So I would say that those are really key, competencies. And if you don't have those, it doesn't mean that you're not going to be a good coach. You could develop those things. Absolutely. But these are competencies that you really need to, you know, and you really need to like own them in order to become a really good coach.
So, and that ties into the second part of the question. So, what kind of self-reflection do you recommend people think about before saying, "Hey, I want to be a coach"? How do they look in the mirror and say, "Yeah, I think this is good for me"?
I would have a frank conversation with myself in front of the mirror, and I would ask some very key questions such as, how coachable am I? And I'm a big proponent of using the out of 10. This is one of the things I learned from my coaching training is out of 10, 10 being the top, how coachable are you? Out of 10, what is your acceptance of change? Those two questions alone will really give you a, a quantitative, because you're quantifying it now out of 10, how coachable am I and how adaptable am I to change? And if you were to multiply those two numbers and get something, close to 100, then you have a really good chance of being a good coach here because you're staying coachable. And guess what? By the way, the coach learns the most. I have to adapt. I have a few students, I have a lot of students, and they're not no two are alike, and I cannot expect them to stick to my style. I have to be versatile and flexible and adapt to their changes, to their reality, their lifestyle. So I would say be adaptable and flexible to each student. And so when you ask yourself those two questions in front of the mirror, you're going to have a metric of where am I in terms of coachability? Where am I in terms of accepting and thriving in a changing environment? And if the answer that metric is very low, you have some work to do.
Yeah, yeah, that's brilliant. Really.
And then
Um,
you had another question. You had a last one.
no, that was it. The two.
Good, good.
Um, how can an investor assess their own readiness to become a coach, and what self-reflection exercises do you recommend? You nailed it there. We're actually up to my last documented question here. So, and that is really asking, why do you love real estate or investing in real estate?
And that's a really good question, Steve. I mean, there's obvious answers, right? Um, Wealth preservation, legacy building for my family. I have two young boys under the age of 10. I don't think about their futures anymore. I think about their futures and their kids' futures. And I say that to a lot of my students because I'm truly trying to build, I'm going to build, along with my wife, we are going to build a huge legacy, and we want to be remembered for what we did and how we improved future generations. And in my, I'm 49 now. In my 49 years, I real estate has been the best, the simplest, the most replicatable system or model that I've come across. In my particular case, my great grandparents from Europe immigrated to Central America, and they became land barons. They owned land, they owned properties, they owned businesses that revolved around real estate. And to me, it just seems like a foolproof system to like they say that the majority of the millionaires in the world did it with real estate, you know. So why not me?
Yeah.
Why not? Why not me? You know? And it just makes sense. Maybe it's in my DNA. I don't know. I think it probably is in my DNA from my ancestry. And that's kind of like a bit of a clinical answer. The probably the visceral answer is fun. You know, it's fun to acquire and to improve properties and to improve society with building new things and driving by with my kids and saying, "Hey, that's one of our properties right there. We bought that with Alfonso and some partners." And my oldest son says, "Oh, wow, Daddy, how many apartments?" And I said, 21. And he said, instantly, he said, "Wow, 21 rents." And it was one of those proud moments, Steve, that I was like, this is why I'm doing real estate. This is why my wife and I are in this game because it's fun and it's because it's building a legacy for future generations.
What's next for you?
What's next for me is to look outside the box and start looking at acquiring some lands, I would say. I'm very intrigued with Central America. As you know, I was hatched there, and the things that are emerging out of Central America are really exciting. And of course, there's a nostalgia there attached to for me because I grew up there as a child, and I'm in discovery mode of that. And I will continue to coach. I will continue to be the head coach here at WealthGenius and growing the membership past 1200 is part of my future, is part of my destiny, and I do not want to disconnect from that one bit. I'm very much committed to that. So Well Genius is very much a part of my future, and my discovery of other lands is also part of my future. And just continuing to acquire and accumulate wealth through real estate is part of my future. Not really changing the recipe too much because if it ain't broke,
Yeah, there you go.
don't tinker with it. So yeah, just gonna continue to have fun with the family and if I look past the next 5 years, I would say really training my boys in the fine art of the real estate language and helping them to start their own portfolios, their own flavor of real estate, whatever that may be.
Perfect. Louis, it's been a real pleasure getting to know you better. I really appreciate you sharing your story and answering and your patience with my questions as we went through things. If people want to reach you, what's the best means for them to connect with you?
Yeah, they can check out my YouTube channel, and it's cash flow, all one word, dot Rivas, Rivas. That's my YouTube. And I'm also on Instagram with the same handle, cashflow.rivas. I'm on Facebook as well, if you're part of the group. Um, I always say that the best way to connect with me is come to a boot camp. Come to one of our boot camps, belly to belly, face to face, and let's just really connect, which is what you and I did. And it was very, I don't want to say accidental. I think it was meant to be. It was a surprise. I would have never said Steve Couper and I are going to connect and have an opportunity to speak in the future on his show. So for me, connecting in person is the best. If we have to connect online, there are definitely other ways. But I really encourage people to reach out to me with their questions and if they want to share their secrets of success, I welcome that as well.
Perfect. Awesome interview. Thank you so much for your time, my friend.
Thank you so much, Steve. This was
Okay.
fun.
This has been fun and jazz hands.
Jazz hands.
Okay. Thank you so much. And thank you for joining Steve Couper's podcast. This has been number 2 with Luis Rivas. Thank you so much.